Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today's another AMA episode. That is Ask Me Anything. Now, I love to answer your questions, and if you have a question you think is going to be of broad interest, send it in. I'll answer it live on the air. Send your questions to Victor at victorjm.com. That's Victor at victorjm.com. Today's question comes from Adam, and he says, I'm looking to reposition a 4-unit apartment building. The construction budget is $60,000, and we have a quote to back that from a contractor. Construction material and labor prices seem to be changing regularly, and the building's currently vacant. The longer I wait, the larger the negative cash flow and the higher risk of a cost overrun, which will eat into the viability of the project. The property is a C-class property. I'm trying to figure out how to finance the construction with a bridge loan of some kind. The property has an existing mortgage on it, and the after-repair value should be high enough to support an increased loan amount. The building's 110 years old, and we will be replacing kitchens, bathrooms, and a total of 60 windows. We'll be redoing the electrical panels, but reusing the existing aluminum wiring. I'm concerned about a hard money lender wanting to charge too much for being in second lien position, and the bank financing having several years left on the loan with a prepayment penalty which I don't want to pay. The prepayment penalty would increase the cost of the project and impact its viability. How would you suggest that I finance this project? Well, Adam, this is a great question. I'm going to break down my answer into two parts. The first has to do with the renovation of the property, and the second is the core of your question on the financing. First off, I'm a little concerned about the construction budget. It seems low for the scope you're proposing. If you're going to use standard off-the-shelf windows, you're going to spend at least $400 per window, and you're going to spend at least $200 per window for installation. That means you've spent $36,000 of your $60,000 budget on windows alone, and that's the absolute best case scenario. The cost of windows will not be lower than that, and very likely could be higher. But that only leaves a budget of $24,000 for electrical, for 4 kitchens and 4 bathrooms, for painting, any plaster repair, window and door moldings, replacement of any electrical outlets, and new appliances. Now, unless you've got a quote from an electrician, not just a general contractor, you've got a high risk that the scope of your electrical work is going to grow significantly. I would probably say the same for a plumber. The building will have lead paint that may be required to be remediated. The sanitary drains in that vintage of building were probably made of ceramic, and chances are that the drain under the floor will have collapsed. You'll have to replace that all the way out to the street connection. You may have asbestos insulation that would need to be remediated before you get a certificate of occupancy. The point is that you have a high risk of your real renovation budget being substantially larger than what you've been quoted so far. Suffice to say, I'm a little skeptical of your budget. Now onto the main body of your question, which asks how to structure the financing once you've got the budget solidified. If your assumption about the after-repair value is correct, then your valuation should be supported by an as-built appraisal from an independent appraiser. Your current lender might be willing to record a second loan having the same maturity date as the existing loan, where they would record a second lien on the property. But since they already hold the first lien position, they're not assuming any additional foreclosure risk by recording a second mortgage since they hold the first lien themselves. You don't have any of the issues associated with early termination of the loan that you would have if you were to refinance. The higher loan amount, as long as it meets the loan-to-value ratio and debt coverage ratio, should not be terribly expensive. Even if the rate on the second loan is a little bit higher, the blended rate is still going to be pretty attractive. The existing lender will prefer to be in first and second lien position compared with having another lender that they don't know in second lien position behind them. It improves the chances that once the loan term is up, you're going to renew with the existing lender for the consolidated loan amount of the 2 loans. As always, you want to gain alignment with your lender on how they're going to underwrite the loan. How are they going to model the rental income? How are they going to model the expenses? You want to make sure your financial model mirrors their model. How is the lender going to model rents for the newly improved units? How will they model the expenses, including repairs and maintenance? This will make it a whole lot easier to anticipate their questions. Now, if you're not successful in getting your existing lender to agree to a secondary financing, you may want to consider paying the prepayment penalty and getting a new loan for the full amount, or consider getting secondary financing for the construction. But you're often going to pay a much higher price in both interest rate and fees for the separately funded second lien position loan with a new lender. The construction loan itself will need to be funded in draws as the construction milestones are completed. After the completion of each major step, the lender will send an inspector to verify that the items in the sworn statement of construction have indeed been completed, after which the bank will fund that tranche of the loan. So as a first step, definitely have a conversation with your existing lender. I want to thank you, Adam, for a fantastic question. And for the listeners at home, go great. Have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.